It was one of those afternoons that leaves you with mixed emotions, the kind that stays with you long after the final whistle. The result went the right way. That is the undeniable truth, and at this stage of the season that carries enormous weight. But when you look a little deeper into the performance, you begin to understand why there is a growing sense of unease among the supporters. Playing at home, under clear skies, with the crowd fully behind the team and the atmosphere building from the very first minute, everything seemed set up for a statement display. An early goal only reinforced that feeling, as if it was going to be one of those comfortable days where the team takes control and never lets go. Yet what followed was something far less convincing, a performance that never quite found its rhythm and never truly put the opposition to the sword. The context makes it even more intriguing. This is a title race that has tightened to the point where every single match feels like a defining moment. With both rivals picking up wins across the weekend, the pressure was already there before a ball was kicked. Seeing those results come in only added to the sense that nothing less than perfection will be required from here on out. The margin for error has effectively disappeared, and while the points total continues to rise, there is a lingering concern about whether the level of performance can hold up against stronger opposition. The gap in goal difference, for example, now feels like something that would take a remarkable turnaround to overcome, which places even more emphasis on simply winning matches, one after another, without fail. There is a noticeable shift in mood compared to just a week ago. Back then, there was a cautious optimism building, a belief that momentum might carry the team through the final stretch. Now, that optimism has been replaced by something more fragile, something that depends heavily on results rather than performances. Supporters are watching games with a sense of tension rather than excitement, waiting for moments of quality rather than expecting them. When a team begins to win without convincing, it creates this strange dynamic where every small mistake feels magnified, and every missed opportunity adds to the anxiety inside the stadium. That tension was clearly evident as the match wore on. Despite holding the lead, there was never a point where the game felt completely under control. The opposition remained in it, always just one moment away from changing the narrative. You could sense the nervous energy spreading through the stands, especially as the second half progressed and the team struggled to create clear chances. It is in those moments that confidence, or the lack of it, becomes visible. Passes become a little safer, movements a little more hesitant, and the overall tempo drops just enough to allow the opponent to stay organized and disciplined. What makes this situation particularly complex is the nature of the current setup. With a temporary figure leading the team, the priorities are naturally different. The focus shifts towards immediate results rather than long-term development, and while that approach can be effective in the short term, it often comes at the cost of identity. There is a sense that the team goes onto the pitch with one clear objective, which is to win, but without a defined style that dictates how that should be achieved. Over time, that can lead to performances that feel disconnected, where moments of individual quality become the main source of breakthroughs rather than a cohesive system. And yet, despite all of that, the team continues to find a way. That is perhaps the most fascinating aspect of this run. Even without hitting top form, even without delivering complete performances, the results are being collected. It speaks to a certain level of resilience within the squad, a determination to push through difficult spells and come out with the points. There is also an element of experience that cannot be overlooked. Players who have been in these situations before and understand what it takes to get over the line in a title race. Those qualities are often the difference in tight contests, especially when the margins are so small. Still, the questions are not going away. If anything, they are becoming louder with each passing week. Can this level of performance sustain a title challenge all the way to the end of the season? Will the team be able to raise its intensity when facing stronger opposition in the decisive matches that lie ahead? These are the doubts that linger, even in the aftermath of a victory. Because while winning is everything at this stage, the manner of those wins can shape belief, both inside the dressing room and in the stands. There are also individual situations that add further layers to the discussion. Some players are showing glimpses of quality, moments that remind everyone of what they are capable of, but consistency remains an issue. Others are battling through physical concerns, determined to contribute even when not fully fit, which raises questions about balance and squad management during such a crucial period. Decisions in midfield, in particular, feel like they could have a significant impact on how the team performs in the coming weeks, especially when it comes to finding that missing spark and controlling the flow of games. As the fixtures begin to narrow and the finish line comes into view, the reality is becoming clearer. It may not be about playing the most attractive football or delivering dominant displays every week. It may simply come down to finding a way, again and again, regardless of how it looks. That approach carries risks, especially against teams that can punish any drop in level, but it is also a path that has led to success before. The challenge now is to hold nerve, to keep collecting victories, and to hope that when the biggest tests arrive, there is still another level to reach hidden somewhere within this squad. There is also a deeper conversation beginning to take shape around the emotional state of the squad, something that goes beyond tactics or individual performances. You can sense that the players are carrying the weight of expectation every time they step onto the pitch, and that pressure is starting to influence how the matches unfold. Even in moments where the team should feel comfortable, there is a lingering tension that never quite disappears. It shows in the way attacks slow down at crucial moments, in the hesitation before taking risks, and in the collective reaction when something does not come off. Football at this level is as much about mentality as it is about ability, and right now that balance feels slightly off. The atmosphere inside the stadium has become a reflection of that. Supporters arrive full of hope, backing the team from the first whistle, but as the game develops without a second goal or a moment of control, that energy shifts. It becomes more anxious, more reactive, almost as if everyone inside the ground is holding their breath at the same time. When the players feel that shift, it can have a real impact. Confidence is a fragile thing, and in a title race where every touch is scrutinized, even the smallest doubts can grow quickly. Maintaining composure in that environment is not easy, especially for those who are still trying to establish themselves. One of the few bright sparks in recent matches has been the emergence of players willing to take responsibility in key moments. There have been flashes of real quality, particularly in front of goal, where decisive actions have made the difference. Those moments are keeping the campaign alive, no question about it. But relying on isolated pieces of brilliance is not a sustainable formula, especially when the upcoming fixtures promise a higher level of intensity and organization from the opposition. What is needed now is a collective step forward, a performance where the team controls the narrative from start to finish rather than reacting to it. The midfield remains at the heart of that discussion. It is the area where games are won and lost, where tempo is dictated and transitions are controlled. At the moment, there is a sense that the balance is not quite right. There are players with technical ability, players with experience, and players with energy, but bringing those qualities together into a cohesive unit has proven difficult. Changes in personnel could provide a different dynamic, perhaps inject a bit more urgency or creativity, but that also comes with its own risks at such a critical stage of the season. Every decision carries weight now, and every selection will be analyzed in the context of the result. There is also the question of physical condition, something that cannot be ignored as the season reaches its most demanding phase. Carrying knocks or playing through discomfort might be seen as a sign of commitment, but it can also limit effectiveness on the pitch. Fresh legs and sharp minds are essential when margins are so fine, and there may come a point where difficult choices have to be made for the benefit of the team as a whole. Rotating key players or introducing new combinations might disrupt continuity, but it could also provide the spark that has been missing in recent performances. Looking ahead, the fixture list does not offer much room for comfort. Each game presents a different kind of challenge, and the level of difficulty is only going to increase. Matches that might once have been seen as straightforward now carry a sense of unpredictability, largely because of the team's current form. Opponents will sense that and approach these encounters with belief, knowing that if they remain disciplined, opportunities may arise. That is why finding a higher level is so important, not just to secure results, but to reassert control and authority in games. At the same time, there is an underlying resilience that should not be underestimated. The ability to keep winning, even when performances fall short of expectations, is a quality that can define a season. It suggests that there is still a strong mentality within the group, a refusal to let setbacks derail the overall objective. That resilience will be tested in the weeks ahead, especially when facing teams that are equally motivated and perhaps more consistent in their approach. Those are the moments where character is revealed, where players either rise to the occasion or struggle under the weight of it. The narrative of this campaign is still being written, and it remains finely balanced. There is frustration, there is doubt, but there is also opportunity. Everything is still within reach, and that alone should serve as motivation. The challenge now is to transform that opportunity into something tangible, to move beyond scraping results and begin to impose a style that can carry the team through the final stretch. It does not have to be perfect, but it does need to be more convincing, more assured, and more reflective of a side capable of lifting a title. What happens next will depend on how quickly those improvements can be made and how effectively the team can adapt to the demands of the moment. The margin for hesitation is gone, replaced by the need for clarity and conviction in every action. There is still time to change the narrative, to shift the mood from uncertainty to belief, but it will require a level of performance that has not been consistently seen in recent weeks. And as the next match approaches, all eyes will be on whether that response is finally ready to emerge. There is also a growing sense that leadership within the squad is going to play a decisive role in what comes next. In moments where structure and fluidity are lacking, it often falls on experienced players to steady things, to slow the game down when needed or raise the tempo when the situation demands it. Those subtle influences are not always visible from the stands, but they can shape the outcome of matches in a very real way. Communication on the pitch, positioning during difficult spells, and the ability to keep teammates focused are all part of that responsibility, and it is something that will be under the spotlight as the pressure continues to build. Another factor that cannot be ignored is how fine the margins have become in front of goal. Chances are not being created in abundance, which means efficiency becomes critical. When opportunities do appear, they have to be taken with conviction, without hesitation. That clinical edge can often mask imperfections elsewhere, but without it, the team leaves itself exposed. A single missed chance can shift momentum, invite pressure, and change the entire complexion of a match. In a title race where confidence swings so quickly, those moments carry even greater significance. Defensively, there have been slight improvements, particularly in terms of organization, but there is still a feeling that the team is only one lapse away from conceding. Clean sheets are valuable, not just for the points they help secure, but for the belief they build across the squad. When defenders trust the structure around them and the goalkeeper feels protected, it creates a platform for the rest of the team to play with more freedom. That sense of security has been inconsistent, and tightening that aspect of the game could be just as important as finding more creativity going forward. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are beginning to gather pace around Celtic, and at the center of the storm stands manager Martin O'Neill, a figure long admired for his composure but now, if reports are to be believed, pushed to the brink. Sources close to the dressing room suggest that O'Neill recently lost patience in dramatic fashion, allegedly confronting one of his own players in what has been described as a heated and uncompromising exchange. While the club has remained tight-lipped, murmurs indicate that the manager has demanded the immediate departure of the unnamed individual, signaling a potential fracture behind the scenes. Those familiar with O'Neill's tenure know this is not a man prone to public outbursts. His reputation has been built on discipline, unity, and a firm but measured hand. Yet insiders claim that tensions have been simmering for weeks, with concerns over attitude and commitment quietly growing until they reached boiling point. What exactly triggered the alleged eruption remains unclear, but the intensity of the reaction has raised eyebrows across Scottish football. The situation has sparked widespread speculation among supporters and pundits alike. Some believe this could be a calculated move by O'Neill to reassert authority within the squad, sending a clear message that standards will not be compromised. Others fear it may hint at deeper unrest within the camp, potentially unsettling a side that prides itself on cohesion and resilience. For now, the identity of the player remains shrouded in secrecy, adding further intrigue to an already gripping narrative. Should the rumors prove true, The coming days could be pivotal not only for the individual involved, but for the balance of power within the squad. At Celtic Park, where expectations are never anything less than sky-high, even the faintest hint of discord is enough to set tongues wagging. And as this story continues to unfold, one thing seems certain. All eyes will be firmly fixed on NEILL and his next move. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.